Okay, we're here for a special edition of Couno Cast, and we're here with Jake Ford, or Mr. Ford, or Fordy, whichever you want to prefer. And we're going to talk a little bit about the World Cup. We're going to talk about your career and what you've done so far. Also your views on leadership. Also wanted to touch on a few subjects as to what training you do and what form of training do you take. A lot of stance from like what England do and stuff like that as well, the position that you're in. So I just wanted to touch on subjects like that. Yeah. So can you just tell us your role here and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm obviously first season here at Westcliff. I'm appointed head coach in end of July. Probably a little bit later than things would have been like to have moved, but I've been here now for a solid 3 months. Really enjoying my role here. A new league. The team probably didn't expect to get promoted into National 2 North, into the national leagues and stuff, and we got our first win in National League Rugby as a club 2 weeks ago, which was pretty big for all involved. So we're making big progressions, and we've lost 4 games in the last play. So we're competing, which is good, and we're there or thereabouts, and we're only going to get better as a team. So
how are you finding the role? How are you finding adapting it down south? Because you're obviously not from it.
It's very different. Obviously, I'm northerner, as you can imagine, and it's very different up there. But I was obviously at Loughborough last year, coaching in the performance programme at Loughborough University, which is a university programme compared to a club rugby. It is incredibly different. You've got everything on a plate for you there at the university, and then you come down here and probably don't have as much. And
the facilities not the same as?
No, probably. Loughborough's facilities are pretty impressive, but the new clubhouse over here is probably better in parts, So that's really, we're really excited to move in over there and stuff. But in terms of being down here, I think you almost makes you a better coach because you value the fact that the lads turn up off their own back after a long day. A lot of the lads work in the city and they turn up off their own back tired just because they want to play for each other and they play for the club, and that's fantastic as a coach, because the lads are going to fight for each other at the end of the day on the pitch, and they don't get paid anything. They do it out for the love of the game and out of respect for each other, and they come through the club section with each other. So
it's like that ego's sort of not there as you would get. There's not really. I wouldn't say there's comparable to football. There's not the same egos that there is in rugby, but in the sense that they're choosing to play.
I've been involved in programs where you're expected to play, and you've been chosen to be a part of the program, especially places like Loughborough and stuff. But here it's really opened my eyes a little bit that. Arguably the one thing you want as a coach is the players on the pitch to give it 100%. Yeah. And at a place like this, you're going to get it every week. Yeah. Just because the lads care for each other and they fight for everything, even at training. So it's, that's fantastic to see. But it allows me to focus on other areas, I suppose. That are probably not from where I was at Loughborough in terms of the detail. I can focus more on the detail around coaching and stuff here. Where at Loughborough you're probably too much engaged on the culture and trying to get what we've got here kind of stuff.
What attracted you to sort of Westcliff Rugby Club as an area? How did that approach come? How did you find out about the job? How was it approached?
It was an interesting one. Obviously Loughborough were going through a transition phase. I wasn't sure if I was going to stay or go, or cutting funding or whatever, and there was a job there for me, and I thought I'd have a look around and just see what there was. And I bumped into Jordan Turner Hall, who I actually went down to his old school, and he said, "Do you want to come into a school with me?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I'll have a look, whatever." And just happened to be that this job, he lives not far from here, and he happened to know that this job came up pretty close to the time that I was looking at the school.
They thought Christmas has come up once.
Yeah, exactly. I put 2 pieces of puzzle together, and I went, this could actually work, both roles and stuff. And the school are very accommodating to my role down here, and vice versa. To be fair, the pieces of the puzzle have come together very well, very conveniently at the same time. Obviously, I didn't know much about this part of the world, but I'm starting to love it. I like it down here.
It's not too bad, is it?
No, it's not. Lee and places like this,
it's beautiful area. It's beautiful area. Because you are the youngest level 3 coach. Yeah. And what pressures do you feel with that? For me, no matter what role you go through, it's like when you were interested, you were talking about giving 100%. Yeah. I think that spans across any business, any form of. If somebody gives 100%, that's all you can ask of them. Exactly. So to me, age really isn't a factor. No. When you're coming and looking at employing somebody, I'd probably do the same thing. If I was employing somebody at work, age wouldn't be a factor. It would be their passion and drive. Exactly. How do you find there's any more pressure with it?
I did it first. I did at first, you know, because I put a lot of pressure on myself to get across how much detail I know and stuff like that. It's probably quite immature as me as a young coach from that respect. But now I've been coaching now for 3 or 4 years. I've got to a stage now where, because of the experience I've got in that short amount of time, I've actually gone, it's not about how much you can tell somebody you know, it's about engagement. It's about thinking of the bigger picture and thinking about the journey and how you can get people engaged along the way. And it's all about improvement and getting a team better every week. Because, you know, I'm very much a team first person, and you know, I'd like to think performances would take care of themselves if you do focus on the improvement and getting better each week. So from that perspective, I've come a long way individually to you know, just looking at the bigger picture and you know, getting that engagement from you know, everyone involved in the club for sure.
Yeah, fair. So you're probably sick of this.
Yeah.
World Cup.
The World Cup, yeah.
Give me your thoughts on it.
Yeah, like first and foremost, what a successful tournament. You know,
amazing.
The first World Cup in Asia. You know, a lot of people believing up to the World Cup said it's not going to work. They won't get the numbers of the crowds or whatever, and sold out every game or whatever it is. And they were, you know, I was impressive with Japan. You know, the way they were, you know, they beat Ireland, they beat Scotland.
So within that interest, so just as like a little side point, who was your surprise of the tournament, would you say? So out of the teams that were in it, who do you think, so that maybe the main underdogs that you thought had performed better than you had thought?
Obviously I think we all knew Japan in the back of our minds were going to play some good stuff at home.
Being opposed,
but obviously there was still a bit of a surprise. But you know, you look at teams like Uruguay beating Fiji, like that would never have happened. You know, you never thought in a million years they'd beat a Fiji team, and just things like that. Just think that's why we play rugby. You know, like they're just that one fixture alone. They've inspired a nation, Uruguay, and you'd like to think there'll be a kick on from there and stuff. And you know, South Africa, I felt, you know, them coming from where they've been 2 years ago to go and win the World Cup shows they've got an incredible amount of belief and fight within the team, and they're playing for something bigger. You know, as they said in the press, you know, they're playing for South Africa and stuff, and that's invaluable. So I thought they've been a real pleasant surprise in the tournament, and the way they reacted from the first round defeat to New Zealand probably makes it even sweeter that they came through the other end. You know.
Have you spoken to him? Is he down?
He's down. You know, he's down. I think he was gutted that they sacrificed so much for that tournament, and they put a lot into.
You see, I think, because I was listening to a lot of the commentary as well, and I don't know how you feel about it. I do think the New Zealand game was pretty much the final that England played, and that to play that monumental again and that much drive and that much effort, and because they literally, I think, threw everything into that. I don't know what your feelings on that. Maybe that took it out into the final.
Yeah, arguably. I mean, Eddie's obviously said they've been building for that New Zealand game for 4 years. You know, 4 years, and I don't think they really looked past that.
Yeah.
But you know, the fact they got to the final, it's mentally, I'd say, more than anything, it's tough. Like, you know, I speak to George in international rugby, mentally, forget about the physicality or the tactics or whatever, mentally, it's very tough, you know, and to go and put out within 2 weeks playing New Zealand, within 3 weeks, you play Australia, play New Zealand and South Africa 3 weeks after each other, and then the last one's the final. Mentally, wow, you know, it's gonna show at some point. I mean, to put in an 80-minute performance against New Zealand, you've got to be on it for 80 minutes.
100%.
And they were.
1,000,000%.
And, you know, it's got to give somewhere. It had to give somewhere mentally, and I think the way they started against South Africa was where it did give mentally, and, you know, they're very honest. You know, George said they didn't get it right on the day, they hold their hands up. They're going to work incredibly hard to make it right.
But I mean, even that run up though. I mean, those games, like you said.
Exactly.
I mean, I'll be honest. I didn't expect us to get past.
No, exactly.
New Zealand, and then when we did, and the way that we played. I mean, even from the. I mean, what was your viewpoint on the V for the hackers?
Yeah,
I mean that for me. Fair game.
Exactly.
But you see so many people moaning about it. So they're allowed to perform. I know the hacker has become.
For sure. I think, like, it comes back to my mentality point. You know, if they can win them little battles and stuff like that, then it's so massive at international rugby. It comes down to the fine margins at the end of the day. You know, a lot of teams at international rugby are very similar. Yeah, they play the best players in the country or whatever. So the mentality inside of the game is probably sometimes the deciding factor. You know, little moments like that do go a long way.
Definitely, 100%.
Evidently so in that final, and even like you look at England in the final, like turning up 25 minutes late to the warm up and stuff.
Yes, it's something like that. Yeah,
that affects you mentally. Little
elements,
things.
yeah.
It goes a long way. I'm not saying by any means an excuse or anything, but it does contribute. Things like that. It does contribute. And it's certainly, you've got to look at the way England started the game. It wasn't the same as they did against Australia, New Zealand, Argentina.
I mean, I'm not trying to take anything away from South Africa.
Yeah.
I just wanted your opinion on this, because my opinion is they did have an easier run up to the final.
Yeah.
Do you think that obviously, in my opinion, that benefited them going into the final? Do you?
Yeah, no.
Because I think there'll have been less physical damage, less mental damage. I mean, England literally put 1 billion% in that run up.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, obviously England had a tougher run to the final and stuff, but I think at the end of the day, a World Cup final is a World Cup final. And if England were playing Japan in the World Cup final, or Wales, or whoever it is, it'd still be the same.
Yeah.
It'd still be the same with the pressure. I think someone was telling me that it was the first South African try ever in a World Cup final, and they've won 3 World Cups. Something like that. So it just shows that the pressure of finals, regardless of the opposition, is massive. So you can have the easiest or the worst run up into the final in the world, but it all comes down to that 80 minutes. And if you're on it for that 80 minutes, you're likely to come out the other side.
Definitely. Well, so coming back to Westcliff, I'm going to put you a bit under the cosh here. Predictions for the season. Well, so what place would you be comfortable with for the first season in this bigger league?
I'd like to think we'll finish 5th or 6th from bottom.
Wicked.
Yeah, I'd like to think we'll be in that. If you look at the league at the minute, you've got a middle table team, probably Bury St Edmunds sitting there, 7th or 6th, 7th or 8th place, around that ground. They're on 22 points. I never usually look at the league, I just have to. And I think every team under that is got 2 wins or 1 win. 2 wins or 1 win, and there's 4 points from where we are and 4 or 5 places above us. So it's incredibly tight, and it's going to be like that till the end of the season. It's going to be like that. We just got to stay in the fight. We've got to stay in the fight. We've got to keep believing. We've got to keep believing in the way we want to play rugby. We want to do it a little bit differently. We don't want to be like every other National 1 team where it just require physicality and stuff. We want to play a bit of rugby. We want to inspire younger people at the club to come and play first team because they know it's a good brand of rugby. We want to attract academies to send the lads here because they know they're going to get coached well with a fantastic coaching team that we've got.
Definitely.
The model that we've got, I've not seen another National League team have in terms of not paying players, investing in the coaching team, investing in the youth. And that development side of things, I think it's different.
It's like the future-proof plan, so
it is. It's a sustainable model, and we're certainly the only club in Southend doing it.
100%.
Certainly the only club doing it, and I just hope for the good of the game, we do come out, stay up this year, and we do show that it works. And if we stay up and we just keep winning, keep performing each week and keep getting better, then we're going to be in a good place for next year.
I mean, and that's all you can ask for. I mean, it's the same like when we look at business as well as in sport. You might not always get the result you want.
No.
As long as you know you've got the effort and they've put everything in. Exactly. That's all you can ask for as well.
No, I mean, I said to the lads, I was like, I know it's hard for you to see when you're on the pitch, but as coaches, we sit down here every week and we watch you from up here, and you are getting better. You are getting better. And I'm not just lying. You are getting better. You look. If I compare the team that went and played Taunton or the team that played Henley at home here at the weekend to the team that played Dings at the first game of the season, you'd think they were different teams. In my head, we're probably just coming out of pre-season because the coaching teams all just come together.
It's all new, isn't it?
Everything's new board, new coaching, whatever, new players coming in and stuff. So results after Christmas, performances after Christmas will be different, will be better. Just because of the more time you have together, it's simple maths. The more time you have together, equals better. So I'm very confident from that perspective. I try not to look at the league, and I try not to worry about what anyone else is doing because my full attention and focus is on us and how we do and how we perform.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for chatting to us. That was absolutely
awesome.
Great to see you. Thanks very much. So we recommend you come down to Westcliff Rugby Club and start watching some games. There is plenty of ways in which you can support the club. After all, this is a community club and all of your support matters. If you want to find out more details on that, I'll be putting links in the descriptions. I'll also be putting links within the comments. But please just come down and watch a game. I think I was speaking to the staff here, and you can watch a game here, watch the rugby, get a 3-course meal and half a bottle of wine for 25 quid. If that's not tempting enough to watch a really talented team and get your food and get watered, there's something wrong. Okay, welcome back. We've spoken to Jake, and we're now going to speak to Pete Mahoney, who is the Director of Rugby here at Westcliff Rugby Club. Thank you very much for joining us. We're going to touch on a few subjects about Westcliff Rugby Club. So I just wanted to lead in with what's your role here, what's your day-to-day challenges, what's your day-to-day working week?
I'm Director of Rugby here, so my role is overseeing the rugby side of the club, from the first team, the ladies, all the way down to the Lion Cubs.
How many clubs are there actually at Westcliff Rugby Club? So how many teams?
How many teams? Well, we start from 2 years old all the way through to the senior. So there's 3 senior men's teams. There's the Lionesses that are doing great at the moment. We also have under 18s down to, say, the Lion Cubs, which is about 12, 13, probably more youth mini sides down there.
I mean, see, I've been down to one of the Sundays that you run. Brilliant community project in my mind. Brilliant to raise interest with kids within sport as well. You know, there is this stigmata of there isn't enough fitness for kids anymore, and now are we going the American generation where nobody's really promoting health and well-being? I mean, if you've not come down on a Sunday, please do come down on a Sunday. What times can they come down on Sunday?
Yeah, so it starts at 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning. Most Sundays, if the minis aren't at home, there'll definitely be youth games. I think last weekend we had 5 youth games here from our under 13s through to our under 15s. 5 games, which was fantastic. We also had the Lion Cubs because of the World Cup on Saturday. We had the Lion Cubs.
We'll come to that in a minute.
Yeah, the Lion Cubs decided to do a Sunday morning. I think Coach Blanchy wanted to watch the World Cup himself, like everyone else. So we had, which was great because with them in the under 6s, and I must mention in the under 6s as well, that's run on by Blanchy, and also we have our first team coaches out there tonight, John Rudd. Used to play Premiership Rugby England 7s. He's now coaching our under 6s down here as well with his son. And I just think it shows what a community club you've got.
There is that element of it. I've been down, and there is just such a brilliant element of community. The coaches you have down here on a Sunday, to the way that they deliver the sessions and such like that, it is fantastic. Where did that stem from, and how long have you been doing it for?
Well, I came down here 10 years ago at my son. I used to play myself at Barking. Very lucky to play National 1 Rugby with them, National 2 Rugby. We moved out me and my wife moved out this area when we had my firstborn, Megan, who's actually out there tonight filming the training.
Wicked.
So she films the games, does all the stats for all the boys.
All family.
Yeah, she loves it. So she's doing that. But my son was playing football. One of those, not going to push him to do anything. He chose football. It was great. He turned around one day and said, "Dad, I want to give rugby a go."
What did you do at that moment?
Oh, it was great. I came over. The one thing I thought is I'm not going to be the coach. So I'd always promised, I always said to my wife, when we moved out this way, if son or daughter wanted to play rugby, Westcliff was the club. Just from me growing up at Barking and coming down here and playing at Westcliff, they were all, just always, and even as a senior, you'd come down here, because I live locally, I'd come down if we had a weekend off and watch games. And it's always had a great family atmosphere. And I've made mates, I've played against players here, and now I'm friends with them in the seniors. And it's just a great club. And as you see now, you've got first team players coaching kids here. You've got an ex-England player out there that brings his son to the Lion Clubs, but he's still coaching out there. So I just think the all-round thing for Westcliff Rugby Club, it's open to anyone. It's not selective. It's not about winning. It's one thing it isn't about is winning every week. Certainly for the kids, and that's about developing them, giving them the opportunity to run around no matter what size you are, girl, boy, and just have good fun. And I think that's what rugby should really be about.
Yeah, I agree with you. That is brilliant. And Jake said a similar thing when he was referencing to the first team. It's like, this is your first season in the national second.
National 2. Yeah,
National 2. And he was saying, the effort that the boys are putting in and things like that. And if that's the message that's been spread throughout the club, as within business, all you can ask for is effort.
Well, I think that shows as well. Like the last 2 weeks, we've had 3 under 18s in our first 15. One of them now, actually Jack Hogarth. We actually forget he's an under 18 still. He's just become part. He's just part of the squad, like, and so all the boys are, and you'll see out there tonight. But we forget because just how much he's come on, and it's always been a thing, and that's the philosophy of the coaches, and that's what Jacob liked. Well, Jake, whatever he wants to be called today.
Mr. Ford, Mr. Ford, we had a few.
But that's what we love about it, is they're all around. You can bring them through, but even before you brought them through, we were still every week. Our first team's like 17 out of 20, 18 out of 20 are from players that have come through the youth of the club. You go to the Lions, our second 15. Again, you're looking at 20 boys out there, you're looking at 17, 18 of them have come through the club. And the other boys that haven't are boys that have been around for a long time and have been in the community. And we've got some, and what's been great, I think a lot of that's been the World Cup, everything else. And obviously what the boys have achieved themselves by getting the National League.
If you talk within rugby, there is a lot more overachievement than there is in football.
Exactly.
I mean, if you talk like 66, the last time that...
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, but generally though, as a club though, we've done this all through bringing through our own player. We haven't done this by going out and trying to bring a team in to win a league one year and then go and get another load of... We've just done this by... And I don't think you can, and I think that's why Jake loved it, you can't coach friendship. You can't coach them. And that's what they've got out. They fight for each other. Yeah, I think we can see the results maybe for the first 15 haven't gone as what we wanted some of the games. But I'm be assured we're certainly up there,
no,
and we're getting better and better. But you can't. The one thing that's said,
I mean, how much of a jump is it from?
It's a big jump, and I think the boys are noticing it. Playing that level with myself as well, and some of the boys that played higher. The higher you go, the little mistakes you make, the more you get punished. Because the players you go and play against are equally as better, or a bit better than you. And so you've got players that have played. You've got players in our league that play Premiership rugby now coming on their way down. You've got players that are playing at Premiership clubs in their academies, playing in our league. So it's a top standard.
Top standard, yeah.
So but as I said, as a club, that's a big ethos. And even with the going back onto the Rhinos, which is a big mainstay of this club, is like the social rugby.
Yeah.
Which is really why I know you can laugh about it. It's a bit like the first team. Because we're not paying our players, so it's them. They want to play for Wrfc Rugby Club. They want to be down there and be part of it. But our Rhinos, our third 15, again, that virtually is all the boys that come through the club, and they're down here on a Sunday morning with their kids now on a Saturday morning doing Lion Cup. So it's just a culture that, not from me, it's from the people like John Pacey, our club president now, Gareth Evans. A long time ago, I think he's one of the people that started up the minis down here a long time ago. So it's years and years of hard work.
Yeah.
And it just pays off, and because it's been driven on a family club, people want to continue to be part of it. I think on Saturday for the World Cup final, I think that showed it. I think the Echo this week had a great yesterday, a great picture in there.
I remember Kev sending me a picture because I couldn't make it down, unfortunately. I really wanted to come to it because there's no better place to watch a Rugby World Cup final than a rugby club, is there? And there was a picture that he sent me, and it was in the picture that it looked like somebody was cheering. Somebody was like, "Oh no, they're actually just passing."
No, it was great. And you had Lion Clubs down here. You had to the and that was just a great atmosphere. And to see that, and I think that comes from. I know Eddie Jones was trying to push that clubs get together. But it's great. And everywhere here was round. The other room was round in there. You only saw part of it, but
fantastic. I mean, so as the director of rugby, what do you find your biggest challenge within the club? Because you're a community club, aren't you?
Yep, sure.
And you need as much support as you possibly can from...
So our challenge as a club is just literally, as you say, because we are a community club, the players are coming through. We don't pay our players, which is a great thing. But the biggest challenge, they play for passion. The biggest thing for us, one, is recruitment, certainly for our senior squad, because when you're... And everyone's got their model, so I don't question anyone's model. Everyone will have their model, whatever it is. But because we don't pay our players, if you want to, like you in National League, we've got a very small squad, you might want to recruit a few players. It becomes very, very difficult because you've got to want them to come and play here because they want to play for Wrfc Rugby Club and buy into the coaching aspect that we've got out there.
Yeah.
So that really becomes, that's a big challenge for certainly this year with regards to this role. And then other than that, it's trying to get businesses involved because again, everyone's voluntary here. We haven't got no one going out there full-time, whatever, I've been able to go out there and be a marketing guru or whatever.
Or a sales.
We sit on that exec committee or we sit on that, we push buttons. So, is it Insta, is it Twitter, is it Facebook? Oh no, I'm sure, look, we try our best, which that's what all you can ask for. But yeah, to try and engage local companies would is just a big chat. There's huge benefits. Say that whether that's and also not just business, bring their families, bring not just their business clients down. And I say you can come and watch National League Rugby here for free. I think it's jaw dropping. We have supporters that we have.
Well, exactly. Why would you come for free? I spoke to this about Jake. Like when it's 25 quid for a 3-course meal, a bottle of wine, and what?
Yeah, I know, but it's just what we do. Obviously, we do the pre-match lunches, which are great, and George does a great job in the kitchen putting them on. But yeah, it's always been a thing. We've never charged to come and watch. So because we go to National League Rugby, do we start now? The people that have come when there was, don't get me wrong, when there's 10 people, it's pouring rain that were coming when we was down in Essex 1, Essex 2. Why should we now? Or the local people that weren't necessarily supporters of the club.
So it's very much about still delivering that interest and getting that community spirit.
Why do we now want to try and make money out of people? Because we've
I mean, you must be obviously looking forward to the new club.
Oh,
and the business park obviously that comes with it as well. I think is that meant to be finished in like 18 months?
Yeah, it's meant to be. I think the new one, the first one's going up over there now. So yeah, that's meant to be 18 months.
But I mean, sponsorship options from as little as 500 quid.
And it's phenomenal over there. And you're going to be, well, you know what's going on. You've got Southend Airport, as we know, is one of the quickest growing airports going. You've got aeroplanes taking off, literally can see the clubhouse. I was actually on the runway in June off to Amsterdam for the Amsterdam 7s and Vex 10s, which was a great weekend. But I was taxiing along the runway and I couldn't believe that the new clubhouse, you literally, whilst you can see this clubhouse when you take off, you can literally see the clubhouse clear as day.
If you want to put a sign on the top of the roof of the new clubhouse, you can do so for just £7,500.
Honestly, you say that Ealing Rugby Club and all that, Ealing Harlequins, all that. I don't think anyone knows. So unless you come in and land over Heathrow, you look down. The amount of sports clubs that have got an airline name across the top of the just across the top of the stand or across the top of the clubhouse, because it's great advertising. What do you do when you come into land? Or take off. Everyone
Etihad, we're tagging you in this.
Everyone's looking out the window, aren't they? Oh, that's where, especially local airports, I'd say, I think. And what great advertising. First thing you look down is this big sign that's up to you. So you could even do it, mate. My idea has always been put your name on the top of the clubhouse or a big sign, or in the car park, on the car park floor. Look at it, you tweet it, you can do deals with these companies. Oh, you tweet, you Insta it, and the company will give you, like, I don't know, say it was an airline, they give you percentage off. They do a draw on if you tweet this, you get a free ticket to bloody, I don't know, Amsterdam or Ireland. So, no, I think there's so much great opportunity, and the facilities. I went over there last week with Jake to have a look. He's obviously all excited. He's looking, he wants to start running some coaching. Obviously, we want to coach our own coaches, but invite coaches in. Get the likes of him doing it, Jordan doing it. Get the likes of his dad down. Mike Ford obviously was coach at the last World Cup for England. Which was interesting, and there's many other, Jackson Ray, but delivering coaching to improve the local coaches as well, not only within Westcliff but just in the general area. So Jake was over there getting all excited about what he could do with the chairman and the steering committee that were taking him round. But you just look at the facilities and they are absolutely phenomenal over there. And for a local company to want to use them in the week, even to have a corporate day, like a learning day, or these continued education days they have to do there or off-site. The facilities are second to none, and why you wouldn't? And it's obviously another 18 months when this business park's open.
100%.
It's just
100%.
Like, you just like
prime opportunity.
Yeah, it's just fantastic.
And obviously, as a club with the ethos that you have, all about the community, I imagine anybody that would come on board now as first refusal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, man. I think you come on board now, you're going to get the benefits of it, because obviously 100%. Once you go there, the more interest is going to be shown once you go to the road. So yeah, community clubs, and like you even look now when you come around the corner, people forget the amount of traffic that still goes into the airport before we even
massively
move.
And it's only going to grow. That is only going to grow.
But even coming around here, like the traffic that's going down, the amount of businesses that are actually around Aviation Way, around this area, before you even put the new parking, I don't think people realise the amount of advertising they put up that they get for such a great price.
That was one thing that shocked me when I first came down here. I was like, shit, well, the amount of traffic there is and stuff that are around here, the amount of businesses, the amount of opportunity there is. So brilliant, thanks for letting us know about that. Your views on the World Cup. So we've asked, it's a bit of like the Mr. and Mrs. section.
Right,
so we've had answers from Jake.
All right.
I want to see if yours sort of like tie in.
Sort of
like match up here.
All right, well,
underdogs and best, the most surprising team for you.
The most surprising team, I think you have to give that to Uruguay for the fantastic win. I think you that's the most. You can say Fiji had a short turnaround time, but then you look at how Fiji played against Australia, and they still, by the way, they excite my son.
Yeah.
Very interesting. He was talking to one of his teachers, and they said, "Oh, what do you?" He said, "I love watching Fiji." Why is that? Because they just look to offload the ball all the time. They just want to keep running. But you look at what Uruguay did; it's just a phenomenal feat. And then you look at Georgia, and I think this World Cup genuinely showed where rugby has come from, like the first World Cup and beyond, before then to now. Is there an underdog anymore? Well, it's not, and it's hard. I remember. When you play rugby, you can play against some really. But it's a shame now the cup games, and I understand it's a professional game, it's the amateur game. Like even in National 2, it's semi-pro for some teams, and it would be an offset. But the cup games now, we used to play where the Premiership clubs used to play the National 2 clubs if the draw was done. And I was lucky enough to play against Leicester for Barking, against Joel Stransky, players like that. Rugby though has changed so much in the level of the international for the World Cup, because you would never have got that 10, 20 years ago. So it just shows you how these tier 2 countries are progressing. And as I said, you get that odd win. But football, you can hit that lucky shot, get the deflection, it's 1-0, you can hold on. Rugby, you can't. So the work that you have to put in
to actually achieve.
You've got Fijians running you for 80 minutes, that's no fun.
Okay, next one. The V against the hacker.
I think it's pretty cool.
I fully with that.
I don't know, whatever Eddie, or whoever the players, whoever come up with the idea, it was kind of like coming to our little home.
Because there was loads of controversy around it.
Yeah,
but if they can perform the hacker, then surely we can provide.
Yeah, there's controversy. Did it make it more of a spectacle? Of course it did. Did it start creating an atmosphere from the start?
Of course it did.
Has it done its job? Because it had everyone talking.
Yeah.
So it's done its job, isn't it? So, and I think it was a bit of like coming to our. It was like, you can walk in, because the way the New Zealanders do the V shape, they walk like they did their V, it's like a triangle into their triangle, and they kind of wrapped them up and suffocating them.
I thought it was genius.
And unfortunately, I don't know what South Africa did in the final. It's as though they did the V to us.
Well, that's the last question. Is your thoughts on the final? Where do you think it? I mean, it's obviously it didn't go wrong because it was an unbelievable tournament.
First off, for me, like if you can easily say, but if you said to me, I'm going to make the World Cup final, beating Australia the way they did, getting through the pool the way they did, beating Australia, then beating New Zealand the way they did. We can say this. I had been saying at work, I thought South Africa could be the team this year. Just the way they got in the Rugby Championships, Erasmus has done an amazing job with them. And I had a feeling they're not just brute force. That's wrong to say. They are just strong athletes. They play for each other, and it's quite humbling at the end in that interview what the coach said about like pressure and everything else, where they talk about playing rugby is a pressure for them. Playing rugby is finding a job, having a home to live in, and I think it's just amazing. It was England. What can't wrong to say couldn't turn up. They just got suffocated.
Yeah.
South Africa did to us what we did to New Zealand. So in the first 10-15 minutes, they painted a picture to the referee, which the picture then was always going to be clearer to one way.
Yeah.
I don't think you can. There's people blaming. You can't blame the ref. The better side won on the day.
Yeah.
And look, tip your hat to England. What a World Cup. What performance.
Really.
And you hear all the players saying it's the closest group they've had for a long, long time. It was. People say, is it because Singer got injured from the start? How will we know? We didn't have a scrum, so we don't know if we would have been in the same situation. I think you just have to say it's that whole squad of 30, 31 players and the coaching staff, and then everyone else that goes in. It's just a country, you've done the country proud of them. Actually, all the rubbish that was going on with Brexit and everything else, it gave us something happy to think about.
Good point. Well, thank you very much. Great to talk to you. Cheers for coming down.
No worries.
And like I say, we'll put some links in this video for you to follow up any opportunities that you'd like to, or just come on down to Westland Rugby Club. It's a great day out. Why wouldn't you?